My friends, this weekend, we usher in the festival of Shavuot, commemorating Revelation at Sinai, God's proclamation of the Ten Commandments, the most decisive event in Jewish history, when the fundamental teachings of our faith were pronounced amidst thunder and lightning. The moment was massive, as were the laws to which it gave birth. Leading up to Shavuot, this Shabbat, we begin reading Sefer Bamidbar, the Book of Numbers, so called because of the census at the beginning of the Torah portion. But in Hebrew, Bamidbar means the wilderness. Vaydaber Hashem el Moshe b'midbar Sinai. God spoke to Moses in the wilderness of Sinai. Why revelation at Sinai? Why in the wilderness? Why was this the setting for our interaction with God? 3/4 of the Torah is set in the wilderness. The conclusion of the Torah leaves us in the wilderness, on the cusp of the promised land. Dor Hamidbar, the people known as the generation of the wilderness, are condemned to die there. The wilderness represents so much negativity and aversion, and yet the most sacred, most defining interactions between God and the Jewish people take place in the wilderness. Why? Our sages in the Midrash discuss the specific choice of Mount Sinai in the wilderness as the mountain for revelation. According to this Midrash, when God sought to give the Torah to Israel, all the mountains clamored to be chosen, each explaining why they were the best or most important. I am the highest mountain, said one. No, said the other. I am the steepest mountain, and the Torah should be given to me. God rejected them all, explaining that they had disqualified themselves as a result of their arrogance. God chose instead Mount Sinai, which had remained quiet, characteristic of its humility. The Torah refers to Moses as the most humble person who ever lived. And yet he aggressively confronted Pharaoh. He fought a war against Amalek. And he was not afraid to castigate the Jewish people. Humility does not mean meek, a reluctance to speak up or to be assertive. Humility is not slacking your shoulders nor having low self-esteem. Rather, humility is defined by respectful behavior towards others, not thinking of yourself as being superior. Moses was chosen to be God's messenger because he was exceedingly humble, more so than any other person on the face of the earth. In this spirit, Mount Sinai, the mountain of the wilderness, was chosen as the place of revelation, loaded with symbolic meaning, a source teaching humility, thus defining the kind of person we must aspire to be. Shabbat Shalom.